Hello and welcome to episode of the Bubbs on Sports podcast. Today is Friday, February 3rd. Hope everybody's having a good day so far. It is in fact Friday, February 3rd here today. We are officially 1 week out from the last football Friday of the season. This time next week, we will be getting ready for Super Bowl 57 between the Eagles and the Chiefs in Glendale, Arizona, State Farm Stadium. So it should be a lot of fun. Looking forward to it. As for this weekend, obviously got a good amount of sports on. No football this weekend, however. You do have the Senior Bowl. You do have the Pro Bowl. So you do got those two games on. But no actual games that matter until next weekend. And then that will wrap up the 2022-2023 NFL season. And we'll head into the offseason, which I would assume is going to be full of a lot of moves, a lot of coverage, a lot of news, a lot of headlines, especially surrounding the New York Jets and the New York Giants, specifically the quarterbacks. Is Daniel Jones going to come back? Are the Jets going to get Rodgers or Derek Carr? What's going to happen? How are those two things going to play out? So we'll see how all that goes. Tonight, you got Knicks, Nets are both off tonight. As for hockey, obviously they're on the All-Star break, and college basketball, you got a couple games over, tomorrow over the weekend. Kentucky as well. They're in action tomorrow against Florida. So they'll look to get a win. They'll look to get their second straight win. They'll be at home tomorrow. And all that good stuff going on this weekend. And, you got the Pro Bowl as well. And last weekend of the season of no football before the Super Bowl. And then after that, it's the offseason. So it's crazy to think that this time last week, we will be talking about the final game of the NFL season. It's crazy how quick it goes. It goes so quick, so fast. And, But a lot to get into today. Never a dull moment with the Brooklyn Nets. Have we got news a little while ago that the Nets we got news a little while ago about Kyrie Irving as he requesting a trade from the Brooklyn Nets and will leave in free agency if they do not trade him. So either way, it looks like Kyrie's time as a Brooklyn Net is over. He's either going to get traded or he's just going to walk in free agency this offseason. I want to get into another wild, frustrating storyline coming out of the Brooklyn Nets, coming out of this organization that just continues to just be a PR disaster. And we sit here again and we have found ourselves in another situation where another superstar for this team has requested a trade. We'll get into this, what this means for the Nets, what they will do with the trade deadline, 6 days away. February 9th is the NFL trade deadline. So we'll NBA trade deadline. So we'll get into that here. We'll also get into the 49ers and their quarterback situation. Obviously, a lot of teams around the NFL have got an interesting quarterback situation going on right now, but I want to get to the Niners today and talk a little about their situation, where they're at. And Jimmy G's not going to come back. What are they going to do? Brady's retiring. That was a name that possibly could have landed there, in California, San Francisco, nice weather, all that good stuff. He's retired. Do they go out and get Rodgers? Although yesterday he said no to San Fran on the golf course when they were asking him, where he's playing. So where are the Niners going to go? Are they going to sign a guy? Are they going to trade for somebody? Are they going to roll into camp with Trey Lance and Brock Purdy? I'll get into it, my thoughts on that, with an interesting but under-the-radar situation in San Francisco. We'll get into that. And really, their quarterback situation over the past couple years, because it's been wild. So we'll get into that and much more to wrap up the week. It is Friday. With all that being said, this is the Bubbs on Sports podcast, and let's get right into it. So there's the age-old saying of there's never a dull moment with the New York Jets. We've said that for a long time now. I always say it. A lot of Jets fans always say it. Never a dull moment with the Jets. And that is now it is the case now for the Brooklyn Nets. There is truly, ever since the day of the clean sweep, this year will be 4 years in May or whatever it was, since the clean sweep of bringing in Kevin Durant, Kyrie Irving, and DeAndre Jordan, who stinks. He was just kind of added onto the list. Since then, there's never a dull moment with this Net team. We use that a lot when we're talking about the Jets, and usually it means a lot of dysfunction. It means a lot of questioning moments where the organization just can never seem to do things the right way. And that is now, the Nets aren't entering that territory. They're in that category. They're in that territory of this team's a train wreck. This organization is a train wreck. There's always something going on. I'm going to hit you with a stat right off the bat here, right out of the gate, before we really get into everything here. In 13 months, Kyrie Irving, James Harden, Kevin Durant have all requested trades. All three of them in 13 months have requested trades. Harden's got honored. He's with the Sixers now. Obviously, Kevin Durant came back. Who knows what his future is? And now Kyrie Irving has requested his trade, and who knows what his future is. You never even know. You really don't. Is kind of this the last straw for this front office with Sean Marks and Joe Tsai, where they have no clue what they're doing, but are they going to say, okay, this is it. Kyrie Irving requested a trade. You know what? Blow it all up. Just give up. Just blow it up. Restart. If they really feel like they're not going to win a championship, then just restart. And that maybe is the approach they take. Who knows how this all plays out. But it's so frustrating because when these moves happen, the expectation was make the Super Bowl, or make the NBA Finals, not the Super Bowl, sorry, make the NBA Finals, win a championship. That was the goal, especially when we brought in Harden, where at first it was ugly, but then I think all of us Net fans began to buy in, and the Game 7 against the Bucks, we lose, and everything since then has been downhill, where the Nets just trade request, injury, bad performance, bad coaching, fire the coach, interim, all of this, and still no championship. And all of this will continue to go on, and most likely, this is another reminder. Things were getting really good there for a while. December was a great month. We went like 12-2 in December. Jacques Vaughn won Coach of the Month. Kevin Durant goes down. And ever since then, it's been a mess. And Kyrie Irving now requests a trade. And we find ourselves again in another situation where it looks like this is another lost year for the Brooklyn Nets. And another year where they're going to the offseason staring into the abyss like they have been the last 3 years, and no clue what is coming next for the organization. But in terms of this trade request, the reports we're hearing is that Kyrie Irving wanted an extension with the Nets. And look, Kyrie Irving is an incredible talent on the floor. I don't think he's a 1. I think he's a really good 2. He's not a 1. He's not a guy that can take a team and win a championship. We've kind of seen this. When Kevin Durant goes down, the Nets aren't the same. Let's just say it like it is. And that's not a complete knock on Kyrie Irving, but it is a little bit of a knock on him because when Kevin Durant goes down, Kyrie Irving really can't take over and be that dominant player. It failed in Boston. It was never going good in Cleveland before LeBron got there. So all of that, Kyrie is a really good 2. He's not a 1. He wants to get paid like he wants. He wants to get a super max. He wants to get a max contract and nothing less. Nets weren't willing to give that to him to keep it short. Nets aren't willing to give that to him, and now he has requested a trade. Trade deadline's February 9th, and obviously he said he's either going to request a trade, they either trade him, or he leaves in free agency. And most likely he's going to probably hold out if they don't trade him. So most likely, we have seen Kyrie Irving play his last game in a Brooklyn Net uniform. And that was in a brutal loss on Wednesday night, which I haven't even got to yet. That game was awful. That was a complete embarrassment, an utter disaster. We went into that game saying, you know what? Keep it competitive. On the road, really good Celtics team, and they got blown out of the water. Blown out. So that's probably could be the lasting image we get on Kyrie Irving. Getting crushed on the road against the Boston Celtics, getting absolutely embarrassed on the road. So this was the official report. Again, Brooklyn Nets All-Star Kyrie Irving has requested a trade. The franchise has been informed that Kyrie prefers to move on ahead of the February 9 trade deadline or leave in free agency in July. So again, either way, this is probably his last game, or probably was his last game with the Brooklyn Nets. Who even knows what this Nets team's going to look like now? We talked about improving the roster. We talked about making trades for players a couple weeks ago. Now it looks like We're going to have to trade away another guy. We're going to have to try and get a fix during the season. We crossed this bridge last year. It's the same situation with James Harden. We'll look at all different angles, try to get the best deal possible. The Nets will probably end up with at the wrong end of this deal. They'll end the year on a low note. They're probably going to get swept, and it's going to be the same train wreck that we witnessed the past 2 years of not winning an NBA championship. But in terms of the perspective of Kyrie Irving, look, I understand and I get this, and I've been very critical of the Nets front office. The ownership in Joe Tsai does not know what a basketball looks like. And Sean Marks, I've been very critical. I was very critical of him with the Kevin Durant trade request. I've been very critical of this front office. All Nets fans have. It's not good. Let's just tell like it is. A lot of people say, Sean Marks brought in all this talent. Yeah, but what has he done with it? And let's be honest, the talent wanted to come here. It wasn't like Sean Marks went out and lured Kevin Durant, Kyrie Irving away from the Knicks or away from the Lakers. Kyrie wanted to come here, play for his hometown team, play for his team that he grew up rooting for. Kevin Durant joined him. That wasn't so much Sean Marks. That was a lot of Kevin Durant, Kyrie Irving wanting to come to the Nets and Sean Marks just having to give them a deal and making it official. That's all he really did. He didn't really go out and get him. Like, he didn't go out and say, we're going to do this, and we're going to give you this and that, and we're going to make this happen. It was more of, we want to come here, and Sean Marks was, okay, I'm good with it. Let's bring you in. That's basically what it was. And I've been very critical. But to me, this trade request, it's not, again, a lot of people look at the contract extension and say, oh, Kyrie wanted an extension. Nets aren't willing to give it to him. He's an all-star. He does this. He does that. He wants a max. Give it to him. He's a great player. Everybody looks at that side of it. And believe me, I get that side. But to be honest, I don't even care at this point. Get rid of Kyrie Irving. He's a mess. You don't know what you're going to get out of him. You don't. He's never consistently on the floor. There's always off-the-field issues. He's never fully focused on basketball. And let's just tell it like it is. You never know what he's going to do. You never know. I mean, there's been 3 really instances where he's had to go away from the team. The one was undisclosed. The other one was undisclosed, I believe. The one he was in a Zoom meeting, like a mayor's Zoom meeting, running for mayor in New York City, basically. And then this year, he tweeted some awful stuff, and he got in trouble for it, and he got suspended for it, and he had off-the-field issues. And Kyrie Irving, you can't rely on him. So part of me says, yes, if all he wanted was an extension, sure, you could blame that on the front office, but why does he deserve an extension? What has he done here? Let's just put that first. What has he done here? And can you really give him a 4-year extension, a max extension, and expect him to play consistently for the next 4 years? No. So to me, Kyrie Irving has always been I, me, all about him. Never about the team, never about winning, all about him, and that's just the way he is. He's selfish. He doesn't care about the team. He doesn't care about the performance of the team. He doesn't care about the organization he plays for. He's all about himself, and that's just the way he is. It's sad. It's pathetic. But that's just the player he is. And we've said that for the longest time now. And this is why I don't fully understand why people today are trying to defend Kyrie Irving. Now all of a sudden we're defending him? Let's be honest here. Not many other organizations, and this is a knock on the front office, not many of organizations would tolerate this. If you're away from the team this much, and let's be honest here too, he hasn't played a ton. He's also had some injuries too. He's not consistently on the floor. And all the fans out there say, oh, we need Kyrie. Well, why do we need him? He hasn't won a championship here. He's barely on the court. Off the field issues. Doesn't care about the team. All about himself. Why should we need him then? So, to me, I look at this and again, very critical of the Nets front office. I've said it for a while now. I was actually on the side of Kevin Durant. I criticized Sean Marks for the Kevin Durant trade request. I thought he could have handled this entire team last year better. He didn't. I thought he could have handled the Harden situation better. I'm not going to talk about that now. If you want to go back and watch that video, it's probably about a year ago today that happened, because similar situations this time last year, Harden requesting a trade. Now it's Kyrie requesting a trade. I didn't think he handled that situation very well, which is, I think, part of the reason why Kevin Durant requested a trade. I was very critical. But to me, again, this front office, this front office is really bad. Don't get me wrong. But to me, this isn't on the front office. This is on Kyrie Irving. This is another situation where Kyrie Irving is just, another situation where Kyrie Irving, all about himself, and he's not reliable. He's not reliable. He's just a head case, is really what he is. It's sad. It really is sad. Because he's got so much talent. He does. And nobody's denying that. And you want to, again, I know I said he's not a 1, but he's not a 1. And that's not necessarily a bad thing. There's a lot of players in the NBA that are really good players that aren't 1s. Like Anthony Davis, he's a great player. He's not going to take a team to a championship. Very good player, not going to take a team to the championship, right? There's a lot of guys in the NBA. Really good 2s, but aren't number 1s. Even Kevin Durant, you can make an argument. Can he by himself take a team to a championship? Like LeBron, he's a 1. Kawhi in Toronto, he proved he's a 1. Jason Tatum, he's getting in that category. Steph Curry's a 1, obviously. There's a lot of guys out there. But there are some guys that are really good 2s. Kyrie Irving's a very good player. He's not, you can't throw him on a roster. And, you can't, if remove Kevin Durant, remove Ben Simmons from this team, and you put Kyrie Irving on this team, he's not going to take you to a championship. LeBron in his prime, sure. You put Curry, sure. That's because those guys are 1s. Kyrie's not a 1. You remove Kevin Durant, who is the best player on this roster, they're not the same. So I'm not trying to say I'm knocking his ability. I'm just saying he's not a 1. He's a very good 2. He's not a 1. But he's a very good player. And that's the sad part. It's sad because when we look back on Kyrie's career, and rightfully so, we're going to remember more of these moments where it's they're requesting a trade, off-the-field issues, tweeting hurtful things, getting suspended, just, again, being away from the team at a random time. All of those things. There's probably more that I'm forgetting of. Saying to the Celtics fans he wants to stay, then leaving. Don't forget about that either. All of these different things. I think I mentioned the trade request just now as well. We'll remember that more than his championship with the Cavs, than his actual on-the-court stuff. Because when he's out there, he's a very good player. But, we'll remember it more, and that's the sad part. He's a head case. He's a head case. And to be honest, and maybe this is just me again. This news, came about an hour and a half ago. I'm recording this right now, 3:32 p.m. Eastern. The news dropped at 1:52, so it's about a little over an hour and a half ago. We got the report about Kyrie Irving. So I'm still kind of fresh in figuring out how I feel about it all. And I don't want to make it seem like it's like, oh, yeah, get rid of Kyrie Irving. Bring in this guy, bring in that guy. But to be honest, I'm so done with Kyrie Irving with this. I think we all gained a little bit we were all done with him early in the season. Then Jacques Vaughn turned the ship around, and we all kind of rallied around this team again. And now I'm really done. Because this is just another situation where he's stabbed this franchise in the back, where he says one thing, does another. He's not reliable. He's not reliable. That's the word right there. He's not reliable. So to be honest with you, for all of you that wanted him to sign an extension, why? Why? What does Kyrie Irving do that makes you want him here for 4 more years? He's not reliable. Sure, he's good on the court. Sure, he's a very good player. That's great. But what if he plays 40 games a year? And you could say, as long as he shows up in the playoffs. Well, when you're in an Eastern Conference with the Celtics and the Sixers and the Bucks, you can't just say, wait till the playoffs, we'll be good to go. We've seen this before. The Nets and we're in this situation again, and that's what's so frustrating. The Nets last year, everyone's like, just get to the playoffs. It's so hard to build chemistry during a season. And now the Nets are going to have to do that again, because if they trade Kyrie Irving, they're going to have to bring in new names, and they're going to have to get those new names meshed in, chemistry, all that stuff. There's no foundation with this team. There's nothing. You know what the Nets are? The Nets are a failed experiment. They're a failed super team. Unfortunately, it's the second one we've had since 2010, because he brought in Paul Pierce and Kevin Garnett. And most of the reasons why the Celtics are good now is because we gave them every draft pick known to man, just like we gave the Rockets in the Harden deal, which blew up right in our face. Kevin Garnett, Paul Pierce blew up in our face. Kevin Durant, Kyrie Irving's blowing up in our face. James Harden blew up on our face. Ben Simmons blew up in our face. He's not any good. I don't think. I wouldn't say Ben Simmons is really bad, but he's not what he once was. I don't think many of us had much high expectations for Ben Simmons, so maybe I guess this was kind of expected from him. But, yeah, that's where we stand. So, the more and more we look at this year in and year out, the Nets are in a situation where they're going to have to. It's a failed experiment. It's over. Blow it up. They're going to have to blow it up, and they're going to have to restart. And they're going to have to figure it out with no draft picks. Now, in terms of some teams that could be interested in Kyrie Irving, look, obviously the Lakers are the number one team that comes up. I mean, if Ben Simmons requested a trade, the Lakers probably would have popped up. Lakers are in everything. Kyrie to the Lakers, though, does make a lot of sense. His connection with LeBron. LeBron seems like the only guy that can keep him in line a little bit, where he seems like he's the only guy that can keep him focused on basketball, keep him where he's out there on a night-in, night-out basis, and that's it. Now, he did do that in Cleveland. It seems like ever since he went to Boston and his ego has gone up, and it seems like he is just he's gone wild, is really what seems to be happening with Kyrie ever since those days in Cleveland. So who knows if LeBron can help him. I will tell you this, though. I mean, I am all on board. If you want to trade Kyrie Irving, go ahead and trade him. I don't care. I'm done with him. He's a mess. He's a mess. And he's a head case, and he's just a loser. He's got so many issues. Just get rid of him. Get rid of him. He's not good in the locker room either. Clearly he's not. But in terms of a trade, the market's not going to be as high as it was for Kevin Durant. Like, I don't think you're going to see a team come in and say, oh, here's 3 up-and-coming, young, promising players and 3 draft picks for Kyrie Irving. No. If the Lakers want to trade for Kyrie Irving, go ahead, do it. The one thing I ask, Russell Westbrook better not be with the Brooklyn Nets. I want nothing to do with Russell Westbrook. I want nothing to do with Russell Westbrook. I do. I'll make that clear. Maybe there's some fans out there that might want him. I want nothing to do with Russell Westbrook. I would rather keep Kyrie, have him not play for the rest of the year, and roll with Kevin Durant, Ben Simmons in this roster, than trade Kyrie and bring in Westbrook. Westbrook's awful. I don't want anything. I want nothing to do with Russell Westbrook. So I wouldn't want. Now, look, if Westbrook comes here, as a Nets fan, I'm going to have to root for him. You're going to have to. That's what I do. I don't want him, but if they make a trade and Westbrook goes to the Nets, we're going to have to find a way to buy in, and we're going to have to find a way to root for him, because you root for the team. So you're going to have to hope it works. It's not. I can almost guarantee it's not going to work. Westbrook comes here, we're not going anywhere. So if you do trade him to the Lakers, Westbrook probably would be in the deal, but I would try and switch it, like a 3-team deal. Send Westbrook to like Toronto, bring in OG Anunoby and like Gary Trent, which wouldn't be bad. I mean, look, the Nets needed to make a trade too. I mean, could a team, again, could the Pelicans be a team? Trailblazers. Again, I talk about it too, where the team like the Timberwolves. I'm not saying that Kyrie's going to go to the Timberwolves, but if you can find a way to get a trade where, Timberwolves can get somebody, get some picks, maybe the Nets get, Naz Reid and like D'Angelo Russell from them, a big, and a guard. Russell obviously already played with the Nets, fan favorite. You send Kyrie to LA, or you send Kyrie to another team. They get picks. They get a player, Westbrook somewhere in there. I think that's the best way. That's where the Nets would best benefit. I think the Nets best benefit a 3-team trade. Now, if they trade to a team not named the Lakers, go ahead. Have it just be a team-team swap. But if the Lakers are involved, it's almost guaranteed Westbrook's in the deal, which almost guarantees it would be he's going to the Nets. So that's why I would try to move it to a 3-team deal, avoid Westbrook at all costs. If the Nets trade Westbrook and Kyrie straight up, I don't know what to tell you then. It's going to be a long second half of the season. That's all I'll say. So that could be an option. I mean, maybe the Nets don't trade him. I mean, they got time though. I mean, look, they got a week. So they got a week. They got until February 9th. It's February 3rd, but they got some time. I don't think they're going to have, like last year when Kevin Durant requested a trade during the summer, I remember hearing the reports that like 15 teams already called. There are 30 NBA teams. 15 teams already called the Nets within like an hour. I don't think you're going to get that from Kyrie Irving. Number one, he's not as good as Kevin Durant. Number two, again, nobody knows what he's going to do. I mean, Kyrie Irving might go to LA and start, making music somewhere. He might become an actor. He might run away from the team and start, acting. You never know what he's going to do. You truly don't. So, that could be an option there. LA to me is probably the favorite. Also, LA needs another guy. If LA gets Kyrie, it helps them. Again, he's good on the floor. He's a good player. You never know what you're going to get off the court. And that's the problem. So, the Nets are a PR debacle. They really are. They just, every single season with this garbage. It's every year. It really is. So I don't know. We'll see. But so this was a new report 5 minutes ago from Shams. Lakers, Suns, and Mavericks have emerged as potential suitors for Brooklyn Nets guard Kyrie Irving. So Mavericks, Lakers, Suns are the 3 teams right now we're here. Suns were also in on Kevin Durant. You're not getting Devin Booker in return for Kyrie. People have to hold on. I've already seen some trade requests that say, send Kyrie to L.A. for Anthony Davis. Nets are not getting Anthony Davis. And let's be honest, do we want Anthony Davis? He's hurt. He's hurt all the time. But, I mean, Westbrook, since Westbrook went to the Lakers, they've been a mess. Like, they've been a train wreck since he's went to the Lakers. And I'm not saying all of the Lakers' issues are Westbrook, but some of it is. Like, since he's gone there, they've been a mess. And part of it's because they got no depth. They have no bench. It's a bunch of old guys that are nowhere close to the players they once were. And that's the problem. And Anthony Davis can't stay healthy. So there are some other factors, but Westbrook does contribute to the struggles as well. And they got Rui Hachimura. I could see them, again, with LeBron's career coming to a close, I could see them trying to make a move here. It's just, I don't know. It would be interesting to see what happens. I mean, I don't know. Part of me says that Kyrie's going to get traded, and there's another part of me that feels like they're going to try to do what they did with Kevin Durant, try to either work on the contract offer or try and make this say, hey, look, can you just play for us the rest of the season? We'll let you walk in free agency. But then again, what level of player are you really going to get? A guy that knows he's going into free agency and knows he's not going to play for that team. Is he truly going to give it his all and risk injury? So all that stuff comes into play. All of it really does. We say with the Jets a lot, never a dull moment. The Nets are right in that category. This team is a PR disaster. Just to give you some numbers on Kyrie, since he joined the Nets, 20 games in 2019-2020, 54 in 2020-2021, 29 last year, and 40 this year. So that's the amount of games he's played. That's it. The most games he's ever played with the Nets is 54 in a season, not even 60. He's missed 20-plus games every single year. That's, again, contract extension to contract extension. That's great. You're going to pay a guy all that money for, 40 games the next 4 years? And that's what you're going to give him? So, I don't know. I've been very critical of the Nets front office, but to me, I side with the Nets on this one, and I think this is all Kyrie. I think Kyrie's he's a mess. He is what he is. We've said this for the longest time now. He's not good in the locker room. He's not reliable. And that's really what he'll be remembered for. It's sad, but it is what it is. So Kyrie Irving requests a trade, and the Nets find themselves in another situation of a star requesting a trade. What do you know? What do you know? Groundhog Day was yesterday. Stars requesting a trade for the Brooklyn Nets is Groundhog Day. It happens every day. Happens all the time. All right, so now we move on here to a little bit of football. Talk a little about the Nets. Now we head out west to California and San Francisco. And I want to get to the quarterback situation with the Niners. And I know we've, obviously, topic of discussion throughout the offseason will be quarterbacks. A lot of teams are in on quarterbacks. You know, I had an In the Trench with Gang Green podcast that I do yesterday all about the Jets. If you're interested, checking that out. It's an Apple podcast. And I talked yesterday about, why it isn't Rodgers or bust for the Jets and why Derek Carr would still be a very good option because there's this notion going around the fan base that feels as if the Jets don't get Rodgers and they end up with Derek Carr, it wouldn't be good. And I don't buy into that, so I talked about that last night. And I went through the teams throughout the NFL about teams that need quarterbacks. And there's a lot of them. But an interesting one is the Niners. And Kyle Shanahan came out, the other day in his post-game press conference or postseason press conference, obviously with the Niners losing over the weekend to Philly in the NFC Championship game, and he said Jimmy Garoppolo won't be back next season. So that basically means, I know that's not a huge surprise, but to hear him say it, I know last year Jimmy G and everybody basically said he won't be back, and he ended up coming back. But to hear him say it, to hear those words come out of his mouth, I think we all kind of expected it. Jimmy G's time with the Niners is done. He'll be a free agent. I'm sure he'll get picked up somewhere. And now the Niners enter an interesting situation. Because when you look at around some of the quarterback vacancies around the NFL, and you look at it and you say, okay, I'll go through the list here. Like the AFC East, Dolphins, you don't know what to his head injuries and the concerns around that. Jets need a quarterback. Patriots, what is Mac Jones, right? You go to the AFC North. You don't know what Lamar Jackson and the Ravens, what's going to happen there. Other than that, those quarterbacks there are pretty solidified. The AFC South, everyone but Jacksonville could use a quarterback. The AFC West, although I still think the Broncos don't have it with Russell Wilson, everyone in that division have it except for the Raiders, who could go after Rodgers with Devontae Adams. Brady retiring complicates a lot of this because Brady was a suitor for the Raiders. Obviously, Josh McDaniels, the connection there from New England. Derek Carr leaving, so that would open up the spot there. Aaron Rodgers, again, the connection with Devontae Adams, he could have been an option. But with Brady retiring now, I feel like Rodgers' name increases for a lot of teams. And yesterday, Rodgers, golfing, said that he won't go to San Francisco. I don't know how true that is, but I don't fully disagree. Or I guess I somewhat buy into that. But Brock Purdy tore his UCL, and he'll be out for 6 months. So he got hit obviously, and this is part of the reason why I wanted to talk about this. He got hit obviously in the NFC Championship game. Turns out it's a torn UCL, and in his right elbow, and he's gonna probably need surgery, and most likely it's gonna be a 6-month recovery. So Purdy probably won't be ready until July at the earliest, which is the beginning of training camp. So then you're going into training camp with just Trey Lance. And do the Niners truly, truly believe that? So the Niners are in an interesting situation because there's a good chance, unlike the Jets, unlike the Raiders, Jarrett Stidham's not the guy. We know Zach Wilson's not the guy. Most likely they're not going to roll with Mike White. Teams like that, they need quarterbacks. Like they 100% need quarterbacks. But when you look at the Niners, and with Purdy going down, it definitely complicates things. I would say if Purdy was healthy, most likely you would go into training camp with a battle between Trey Lance and Brock Purdy. The winner gets the starting job, obviously. But with Brock Purdy going down, are the Niners now almost forced to make a move? Because what is Purdy going to do when he comes back? Is he going to be that same player? Is he going to be the guy that he was that took the Niners from when Jimmy G went down, took them all the way to the AFC Championship game? Or is it going to take him a little bit to come back? Was that just a one-hit wonder? All of those things now come into play. My personal opinion, though, even with Purdy going down, look, Purdy played in 9 games. Okay, and in those 9 games, he had a 61.7 completion percentage, 1,374 yards, 13 touchdowns, 4 interceptions, and a QBR of 65.4. He was very good. And during that stretch, I mean, he was playing like one of the best quarterbacks in football. It kind of got to the point where, all jokes aside, we were all joking about Purdy, oh, this and that, but he was really playing really good. Like, it was legitimate, good, top quarterback play in the NFL. And again, he took his team to the AFC Championship game, and who knows, if he doesn't get hurt in that game, there's a good chance they're getting ready for Super Bowl 57 right now instead of the Eagles. But that's besides the point. I still am not against the idea, and I think there's this notion going around the NFL that, oh, Purdy's time's over. They got to bring in a guy like Rodgers. They got to bring in a guy like Derek Carr. They got to go out and sign somebody because clearly Trey Lance and Brock Purdy just aren't it. And I don't quite understand that. You're just going to give up on Trey Lance? All of a sudden? Purdy played well in 9 games. Doesn't he deserve a shot? I also don't think it's fair to Brock Purdy. I also don't think it's fair to Trey Lance. Sure, they both got injured. Sure, those are concerns. Trey Lance might not be completely ready just yet. But I don't think it's... Again, I'm not against. And Trey Lance, there's a good chance he might not even be ready for week 1. Right? And you got to take that in consideration too. So training camp battles, there's a good chance that doesn't happen. But in terms of, what Brock Purdy did last year, I don't think it's... I agree with the idea of bringing in a good quarterback. Like you want to bring in a Tannehill or you want to bring in an okay guy. Tannehill, look, he's not very good. But as somebody, as a stopgap, go ahead. Just to have as depth, just to have as a backup, just in case if injuries reoccur with Purdy or Trey Lance. But Purdy's 23. Trey Lance is very young as well. He was a first-round pick. You're all of a sudden just going to give up on both of them, go out and sign Aaron Rodgers, and that be your solution? Really? So, I don't know. I'm in the minority here. And again, the injuries complicate things because I would say if Purdy was healthy, I think 100% people would be all in on wanting to see what he can do next year. And I know I know there's always those concerns of a one-hit wonder, but at least give it a shot. I mean, you'll never know. What if you bring in Rodgers and you get to the wild card game and you got to the NFC Championship game with Brock Purdy? It's not bad. It's not bad. And let's be honest. Are the Packers, I said Chargers there, are the Packers really going to trade Brock Purdy or trade Rodgers to the Niners? Are they really going to do that? They've made it clear they don't want to trade to the NFC. So you got to look at it now and you say the options are not quite there for the Niners. They've got 2 quarterbacks that you feel like can be capable of doing something. Give them a shot. I'll tell you what, though. Part of this is, what I'm about to say, is a compliment to Kyle Shanahan, but there's also a part of it that's not a criticism, but it's luck. Kyle Shanahan has still been able to take this Niners team, this Niners organization, and has done a phenomenal job with them, despite all the issues at quarterback. Not many other teams could do that. From Nick Mullins to Jimmy Garoppolo to getting hurt, to back to Nick Mullins, to Garoppolo, to him getting hurt, to Trey Lance, and him getting hurt, to the Garoppolo, him getting hurt, now Brock Purdy. For a coach to be able to, with so little stability at the quarterback spot, to be able to find that much success is great. There's also a little bit of luck involved. I mean, who saw Brock Purdy doing this? Let's be honest here. Who saw this happening, right? So it will be interesting. It's interesting. How do the Niners approach this? It'll be really interesting to see what they do. I'm not quite against, though, giving the 2 young guys a shot to prove themselves when last year, again, Trey Lance, small sample size, you didn't see much from him. But Purdy showed you a lot last year. He did. He showed you a lot. Let's just tell it like it is. I know people are are allergic to, there's this notion that it's illegal to have Brock Purdy as the starting quarterback next year. I don't fully agree with that. So we'll see. Niners quarterback situation, definitely an interesting one. All right, so let me get up my the other notes here for the games tonight. Got to get it up here. Sorry, typing it in. All right, so tonight you got some games on in the NBA after the crazy day here with the Nets. So 4 teams interested, according to multiple reports. Lakers, Heat, Mavericks, Suns. So the Heat got added to that list. So it was Mavericks, Lakers, Mavs, or Mavericks, Suns, Lakers. Now it's the Heat are involved as well. Pistons, Hornets, Kings, Pacers, Trailblazers, Wizards, Suns, Celtics, 76ers, Spurs, Magic, Timberwolves, Raptors, Rockets, Jazz, Hawks are your NBA games on tonight. And big college basketball weekend tomorrow. You obviously have got some good college games on. Kentucky against Florida, so that should be a good one. You got Texas Tech, Baylor. You got Kansas, Iowa State. So a couple really good games on tomorrow. And then next weekend, it will be Super Bowl Sunday. And then after that, that's it. That's all. That's all she wrote for the 2022-2023 NFL season. So it's been a fun ride, and it will all end next week. And we'll have a lot next week. So next week, my plan is I'm currently right now trying to get somebody on to talk about all of this. So stay tuned for that. Working on it. I don't know if it's going to happen yet, but I'm trying to get somebody to get somebody with the Eagles on, to try and get somebody with the Chiefs on to talk about the game. I've been planning for this for a while. Unfortunately, I couldn't reach out to people earlier because I didn't know who the two teams were. So now it's kind of tough because everyone's busy, everyone's pumping out content. So now scheduling's kind of tough right now, but I'm trying to get 2 people on, 2 separate episodes to talk about the Eagles' perspective of the Super Bowl and the Chiefs' perspective. Right now, I don't have anybody just yet, but I'm working on it. But next week, either way, those will be bonus episodes. So I'll have like a show on Monday, and if I get somebody on, it might be on like a Tuesday night. So those would be bonus, but I'll still have 3 episodes next week, plus possible 2 special guests, which would make it for 5. So a lot of content coming next week for Super Bowl week. But something I want to, next week the plan is, though, with me doing Monday, Wednesday, Friday pods, Monday I plan on it being the Eagles and Chiefs offensive preview. I did this last year, except I spread it out Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, where I did Bengals, Rams, Monday, Tuesday offense preview. Wednesday, Thursday was the defense. With me only doing 3 days and Tuesday, Thursday not doing pods, I was just going to do Monday will be the Bengals, or will be the Chiefs and Eagles offensive preview, where I'll give you the numbers, get you what they need to do, all that good stuff. Wednesday will be the defense. And then Friday will be my game pick, the game preview, keys, stats. We'll put it all together and get you ready for the game on Sunday. So that's the plan. Stay tuned. A lot more content coming. Big week next week. I'll get all the content out to you guys. Enjoy the weekend. I know no football on, but you still got, obviously, the Pro Bowl. Should be interesting. Flag football. And a lot more. College basketball, NBA, all that good stuff. Where does Kyrie go? Is Kyrie a net by Monday? We'll see. And that will do it. Another big week. Another week in the books. Enjoy your weekend. I will see you all back here on Monday. Hope you enjoyed it, and thanks for watching.